Hello everyone and welcome back to Easy Natural English with Liam. Today I want to talk to you about whether or not to learn English while using subtitles. So, I am a big fan of learning languages through TV shows and movies because they can teach us the real natural language that native speakers are using. Sometimes textbooks and materials for people learning languages can be unnatural, they can be robotic, and sometimes just kind of old-fashioned, using language that nobody uses anymore because it's very hard to keep updating them. But movies and TV shows, it's always very recent and modern. So, while you're watching them, should you use subtitles? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So first off, don't use subtitles in your own language. At least not for the whole thing. I know some students, they think, I'll put on a movie, I'll read the subtitles in my own language, in your native language, and I'll listen to English, and by magic, I will learn English. But unfortunately, that doesn't work, because if you have the subtitles in your own language, then your brain will pick the easy option. Your brain will choose the path of least resistance, sometimes we say in English. So it means choosing the easy option, and you will focus on your language, and basically your ears will just close and you won't listen. I know that's the case, not just because research shows that, and many language experts will say that, but also I know from my own experience. I tried to learn Japanese with movies and TV shows, and if I have the English subtitles on, even though now I can, because I've been doing this for a long time, I can hear Japanese quite clearly, I still just stop listening. If the English is there, I find I'm just reading the English because that's still much easier for me to do, and that's where my focus is. So, what should you do? So for you guys studying English, I think using English audio and English subtitles at the same time can be very useful. So should you do it all the time? Maybe not, but I'm going to explain when I think is a good time to do it. So if you're someone who's a bit of a beginner or maybe still intermediate level of English understanding, perhaps you can understand me speaking in this podcast or on the YouTube channel, because I speak naturally, but I am definitely speaking a bit easier than I would usually speak with other native speakers. So you might be able to understand this, but when you try to watch movies or TV shows, you might find it more difficult to understand. So in that case, if you try to watch a movie or a TV show and you find you understand very, very little, almost nothing, then I would recommend using the English subtitles, because that is going to maybe increase your understanding to 50%, and then you can take a lot from that extra bit that you don't understand. You'll be able to see words that keep popping up, and then you can search what those words mean. So I wouldn't search every single word. If you search every word that you don't understand, you're going to go crazy. It's going to be very boring, and it means you're only going to be listening to 10 minutes of English, because it's going to take you 2 hours to search all the words. Where it's better just to watch the whole movie or the whole episode and just search the words that you start to notice are popping up a lot. So if you see a word and then it pops up again, then it pops up again, you think, oh, this word keeps showing up? What does that word mean? People keep using it. That means that's an important word to know because people are using it very often, or it could be very important for the story that you're watching. So in that case, yeah, I think English subtitles can be good, and it can also help you to enjoy the TV show, because if you're understanding nothing, then it won't be very fun, and you'll probably lose your focus. You'll probably stop paying attention. So use English subtitles if the show is very difficult, or if your level is too low to understand anything, then yeah, use the English subtitles. But it is very important to get listening practice with no subtitles. So if you're doing that, try to make a balance between times when you're using subtitles and times when you're not. So try to listen to, for example, my YouTube channel or someone else's YouTube channel where the English is a bit easier and you can listen with no subtitles, because that's when your actual knowledge of English sounds, that's when your listening skills are getting better. Because if you're always using subtitles, we don't have subtitles in real life when you talk to somebody, so you won't get used to the sounds of English exactly. When you're using subtitles, you're kind of practicing reading maybe more than you are practicing listening. So yeah, I think it's good to have a balance. Maybe try to watch a show with no subtitles and then turn them on, or perhaps reverse situation, watch it with the subtitles, then watch it without the subtitles. So kind of find that balance. And I think that's a good way to approach it. So should you use them ever in your own language? So in your own language. So I said, don't watch things just in your own language because your brain will switch off and you will just focus on those subtitles. So definitely don't do that. But sometimes if you have the option, so if you're using something like Netflix, it's very convenient. You can put the subtitles in English and then you could change it to your own language. It can be useful at points to teach you what a phrase means. So I'll give you an example. So I'm studying Japanese. You probably know I say it all the time. But when I was starting to learn Japanese, when I was still very much a beginner, I was watching a popular Japanese TV show called Terrace House. And one of the characters was, or one of the people, because it's a reality TV show, he was one of the people in the house. He was angry at another person about what he did. And the other person came in the house and he said to him in Japanese, "Are wa nai." And the literal translation in English of "are wa nai" would just mean like it isn't, or like that isn't there, or that isn't. So for me, thinking in English, I'm like, what does that mean? I understand those words. It's very basic, simple words, but I wasn't quite sure. I kind of guessed, but I wasn't quite sure of the meaning in that context. So I looked at the English subtitles just for one moment. So not watching the whole thing, but just turned the English subtitles on for one moment. And the English translation was, "That's not cool." So yeah, what he meant in that situation was like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. Or like, yeah, that's not a good thing to do. So in English, we often say, that's not cool. So if you're kind of angry about something someone's doing, or you think like what they're doing is not good, you're thinking, hey, that's not okay. You shouldn't be doing that. We often say, hey, that's not cool. Don't do that. That's not cool. Or that's not okay. Don't do that. So that's what he was saying. And even though the words were very simple, I couldn't quite understand it. And just putting the English subtitles for that one moment just showed me what those words meant when I didn't understand exactly. So like that sentence in English, "that's not cool." If you saw the sentence, "that's not cool," you might think like, oh, that's not fashionable. Or like, yeah, that's not trendy. But that's not what that means. That's not cool means, hey, don't do that. You're going to make people unhappy if you do that, So if someone's like saying bad words to somebody else, you could say, hey, that's not cool. Yeah, and it means like, don't do that. That's mean. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes, the words can be simple, but we can't quite understand what they mean when they're being used in that situation. So at that time, at that point, it can be useful to put your own language just for that one moment. But don't forget to turn them off again afterwards, because that's what I've done before. I put the English for one moment, I forget to turn them off, and then I find myself just staring at the English subtitles, not listening to the Japanese, and quick, turn them off. Okay, back to listening to Japanese. Yeah, so if you try, just to summarize, just try to watch English shows maybe with no subtitles or with the English subtitles. I think it's okay. I know some people say don't use any subtitles, but I think it's just a different kind of practice. If you're really trying to improve your listening skills, then don't use subtitles. So if you're watching a movie or a TV show and you have the English subtitles on and you find you can understand like almost everything when you're reading, but then you turn them off and then you can't understand anything, that means you definitely need to work on your listening skills. So if you're in a situation where you can read the subtitles easily, but you can't understand without the subtitles, then you are a person that needs to turn them off and you need to do more listening. So just listening. But if you find you turn the subtitles on and there are still many words and phrases that you don't understand, then maybe for you, it would be good to use some English subtitles some of the time, so not all the time. So yeah, that's what I think about using subtitles with movies and TV shows. If you have any opinions or comments about what I've said, please write them on YouTube. I try to respond to everybody's comments. So yeah, please don't be shy. Thank you all for listening today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and to follow the podcast version. And I will see you all back here next time.